Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Sally the OC, the final 2 episodes, episode 7 and 8. So let's just jump into the reason that we are here, and that is episode 7. So Polly is stressed. First of all, I broke a nail, okay? Secondly, she closed an offer, so she's dealing with the stressors of that. Ashtyn is back. She's planning a baby shower that everyone's invited to. Oh look, Jason's here. Yay. Then we bring up Cypress. He will either be picking 1 or 2 people to sell the property. We know Gio's gonna be that person, or at least one of them. Like, come on, we know he's gonna be good. That's what I wrote. More on that later. So Alex and Fiona go to see a house, and the client says, "I'm actually good friends with Ashtyn." Now, I really need everyone to hold on to this and remember this. I will come back and reference this, but yes. So he's good friends with Ashtyn. His girlfriend is too. They actually went to her wedding. Like, this is how close they seem to be. She's actually been trying to get this listing from him for some time, and he just wants to see how he could work around that if he were to pick Alex and Fiona to do this listing for them. So here's what Alex says. She says, well, I mean, she's gonna have a baby soon. Like, she's busy. Like, what? And it's better to separate personal from business, which I do agree with. But here's the other thing. I didn't mention this, but I do vaguely remember that he said, I actually thought that when I called the O group, that Ashtyn would potentially be one of the people who would show up. So he did say that. Let's move on. We got a broker's open with Polly. She brings in an energy cleanser. That seems like a great idea. Kaylee and Tyler are talking about the drama in the group. Now it's a lot, it's too much. Kaylee tells Fiona and Polly, I mean, I think you should talk to Ashtyn about what was said. If you need the refresher, Fiona said that she met her husband on seeking arrangements. I don't know why that matters. And then Polly said that he was kind of coming on to her. Fiona doesn't think that it's a big deal. It's fine. But it is. It actually is a big deal when you're accusing someone of being a sugar baby and then the other person is accusing the husband of coming on to them. That's a big freaking deal. Actually, I don't particularly like Ashtyn either, but I'm actually not really liking Fiona. I'm my mind has been changed on her. I think she has a lot of growing up to do. Gio tells Alex that the baby, he's the only person telling her this. So trigger warning for what I'm about to say. Loss of pregnancy. Gio tells Alex that the baby is no longer viable. This is the second time in a row that this has apparently happened. And he kind of talks about like being in the ultrasound room, the tech saying that there's no heartbeat and um, thinking like he's not quite understanding like what's happening, thinking the worst case scenario, and then of course the worst case scenario is what happens. Um, it's really sad and it's horrible. Um, but Ashtyn is showing a house to her clients. And then Kaylee comes by afterwards, and Kaylee brings up things were said about you and your husband. She doesn't go into the details as to what was being said, except for the dating app situation. Saying like they're talking about how you met him, and she's like, "On a dating app? How about a sugar baby website?" And she's like, "What?" She doesn't deny it. But again, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? But she says, I have worked hard to get where I am. I was poor living in Fresno. I had to boil water on a stove just to take a shower. And then I think you need, she says, I think you need to talk to Polly about her experience with Jeff. She says she's very confused. She had just offered furniture to Fiona at no charge, which I would have loved to hear Fiona's take on that. But that never gets brought up. So, yeah. It's Ashtyn's baby shower, and she starts opening gifts. And listen, I've been to many a baby shower. I feel like 9 times out of 10, a baby shower doesn't it's not the time to open those presents. You usually take those home with you and open at home. And doing it in front of everybody, it's just, I don't know, man. It's boring experience. We're happy about your gifts, but we don't actually care. So we want alcohol, we want cake, we want food, maybe play a game or two. But this baby shower is fancy. There's no games. Um, anyways, after that, Ashtyn pulls Alex aside to talk to her. And she's like, so, I got a phone call last night that you toured my client's listing. I'm sorry, what? He never said he was your client. He said he was your friend. So yike and irks on that. Okay. And then the girlfriend didn't come to this baby shower because she felt that Alex was hitting on him. Apparently, he told her that Alex was hitting on him. What the fuck? That didn't happen. From what we saw on camera, Alex had never hit on him. And I doubt that he actually went to his girlfriend, said she was hitting on her, and then she feels so goddamn uncomfortable that she doesn't show up to a baby shower. No, she probably RSVP'd pizza. I'm busy that day. Like she probably was never showing up. And I just don't think someone is going to be that afraid to go and confront or don't even confront somebody. Just be there. You don't have to say shit. Or if you do decide to say shit, say it and then it can be figured out. This was very weird. I actually do not believe that this was actually said, but more on that later. Alex ends up leaving at this point because what you're not going to do is accuse another woman of basically using her sexuality or whatever, her, I don't know, prowess, if you want to say that, and you're not going to use that against her when we're talking about someone's business here. That's a low blow. And I totally understand why she's upset. She's basically says, I'm not going to film with that girl anymore. I'm not doing it. We're on episode 7. Spoiler alert, she will be filming with her again. But yeah, that is basically episode 7. It's a quicker episode for me in terms of notes. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll jump in with the final episode. Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to go take a look at. This is with Pink Salt Wall. So they're a source of pure Himalayan salt. I think we all kind of, have our salt lamps and everything, which I do have. But with them, they offer high quality Himalayan pink salt products that can enhance your environment and help with respiratory and skin issues. Their collection includes Himalayan salt bricks, tiles, building blocks, licking salt blocks for your animals. That sounds interesting. Salt lamps and cooking plates and much more. All their products are shipped directly from their factory in Pakistan and are available locally through their warehouse in Maryland, United States. So, yeah, if you're interested in taking part in that, you can go down to the show notes where you'll see a link to their website through me. So you're supporting them as well as supporting the podcast as well. So if you go to www.pinksaltwall.com/Tanika Thomas, that's all in caps, you can partake in these amazing products and again, support the podcast. Now it's enough of me. Let's head back to the podcast. And I'm back. All right, let's jump in with episode 8. So we have Alex and Fiona at a restaurant. Fiona says, so that client of Ashtyn's, he followed her on Instagram. That's weird, especially for what we're going to see later, but honestly, I have some thoughts. I'll get to it later. She says, so I confronted him. I asked him, like, did you say that? He says, that's random. And he's like, not that I thought or not what I thought or said. Hope all is well. I don't want to say this. He's lying. Maybe he did. Maybe he did say something to her, and the girl did come back and say that to Ashtyn. But I still don't think that's the reason that the girl didn't show up at the baby shower. Um, so I think that's where the lie lies. But I think he's lying. I think he did say it. I think he did say it to her. Or it said directly to Ashtyn or whatever. I think it was said to her. Um, and that's weird because it's also weird that he chooses to follow her on Instagram. That's weird. This is all, I mean, not that it's weird, but it's weird if you're like, you know what I mean? It's all interesting. But again, it is a black whip. I do think he's trying to protect his ass and protect Ashtyn's ass. Like, that's what I think. So it's not good because, as we have said before, as a woman lowering them to that and that coming from another woman as us also is the gross part. So then we have Ashtyn at her friend's house, the listing guy. She's trying to get that listing, y'all. And he just wants to see what she has to say. But girl, this is not poaching. I have to say this. She keeps using the term poaching the listing. It's not poaching if he's not your client. He's your friend who has a property you want to sell. That's not poaching. That's not poaching. Because again, at the end of the day, he contacted the O Group main line or something. He didn't come to you directly and said, hey, Ashtyn, can you do this for me? So he clearly was looking for something. Whatever that is, I do not know. But here's the thing. What Alex ends up doing, because in that meeting, Fiona kind of says, I think we could get like 10 or 11 for this place. And she kind of goes to Alex and gets her input, like, with her eyes saying, do you agree? And Alex says, I think you could easily get 12. Maybe, you can get a little bit more. So that really solidifies who he ends up picking because He just wants to see what she has to say. So she says, I think you could get 12 for this. At the furniture, you could go close to 13. Solidifies everything. And that is how she got it. He wanted to know if she is knowledgeable enough to know the worth of this house. And she literally says verbatim what Alex says. Got her the listing. So she got the listing. Oh shit, that's Diplo. We see Kaylee with Diplo. She's just one of her producer friends. She's known him for about 12 years. No big deal. Showing him the house. Whatever. He's funny though. He's funny. Anyway, we got an O group party, y'all, celebrating 1 billion in sales. Um, I said everyone's spilling their drinks here. Austin spills his drink, then I think Gio spills his drink. Everyone's spilling drinks here, mainly the men. Men are spilling the drinks. And oh, Tyler's here. He's not going to be in the running though because they are going to be announcing who is selling Cypress at this party. Clearly, he's not in the running for this. And Jason is going to be announcing. I just said that. Whatever. Tyler and Alex end up talking a little bit. He is seeing someone new, and he says it's very fresh. I need to say this. They don't say who, but I suspect it's Kaylee. I suspect it's Kaylee. And I think for the next season, we're going to get that answer. I think it's Kaylee. Anyways, that's just me. Meanwhile, Fiona tells Kaylee what happened and shows her the text that the client sent. She is shocked by this because it's like it's in black and white now. She's saying one thing, yet the sky is saying another. For her, it's in black and white. Like, you're lying. And honestly, I don't think she's actually lying. And I'm going ahead here a little bit. But when she talks to Alex, she says, I've never brought a lie to you, Alex. She is one of those people. And again, I know this person. She's one of those people who tells the truth, but doesn't know when to not fucking talk. That is her problem. And I know this person. As I mentioned earlier on, I was friends with this person. So, and the friendship didn't end because she wouldn't stop talking. It just drifted apart, whatever. Um, but yeah, that is the problem, is that they don't know when to not say something or just keep things to yourself. That's the problem. So I don't think she's lying, but I think the truth lies somewhere in there. But of course, this is throwing Kaylee for a loop. Ashtyn shows up and tells her what happened. And she says, like, I never, or I should say, Kaylee tells her what was said to her by Fiona. And she says, I never implicated Fiona as one of the people who was hitting on him. True. 100% true. She never said, because if she was going to include Fiona in that, then why didn't she pull both Alex and Fiona? She only pulled Alex and said, he said you were hitting on him. That's true. She never said Fiona. But Fiona, for whatever reason, says, well, you did say me. No, Alex said you. Alex said that you were flirting with him as well as her. That's not what happened. That's not what Ashtyn said. Ashtyn said, I said it was Alex. I have to say, that is true. Anyways, um, then Fiona shows her the messages that the guy sent. And Ashtyn brings up Fiona saying, okay, well, you want to talk about what I have done. Well, let's talk about the fact that you are saying that that I met my husband on seeking arrangements. And she's like, is that not the same thing that you're complaining about me doing? Yes, 100%. I've already said this before. And she's like, it's not the same thing. Like, you don't have a leg to stand on. Honey, no, you also do not have a leg to stand on. She doesn't have a leg to stand on, and you don't either. And that's the problem. You think you're better than her. You're not. You've proven that already, that you're not better than her. Because as soon as you had an opportunity to talk shit, you did. You're not much better than her. So, and then she kind of says, the client, he called us. We didn't go to him. Actually, and I said this before, buddy, he said, I called the O group. I actually thought that Ashtyn would be there too. And he was shocked that she wasn't. So technically, he didn't call them. He just called the O group and said, you know, surprise me, essentially, thinking that Ashtyn would potentially be there. She says the listing is fair game. That is true. Fiona says that the listing at the time was fair game. Little do they know it's no longer fair game because Ashtyn got the listing, but it was fair game. Polly, sorry, I'm going ahead of here. During the fight here, this is when Jason comes out and says, "Hello, I got the announcement. We're gonna finally talk about who is getting the Cypress listing." Um, so he's like, "Let me first talk about who isn't gonna get the listing. Polly, you were doing so good, so close, but essentially they didn't go with you. And Gio, honestly, I feel like you've been doing so good. You don't even need my listing." So he did so good that he doesn't need it. That's pretty funny. And then he says, "I'm going to give this listing to someone who maybe wasn't the top seller, but still is like like on her game." And he picks Alex. I kind of wanted him to pick Ashtyn just to stick it to everybody, but anyways, so he picks Alex, and she's very happy about it. And Polly's pissed. Polly's pissed about it. She's like, "I wanted this." Like, she's actually being a sore loser. She doesn't even go to Alex and be like, "I hate it for myself and I'm really happy for you." She doesn't do that. Like, what the fuck? Like, she's being a sore loser, like I said. But Ashton then talks to Alex, to kind of like go through everything that's happened so far and to kind of give some form of an apology, although she's not sorry about what she said about the whole situation, about him hitting on her or her hitting on him, because she said she didn't lie about that. But she's like, "You don't listen to me." And she says, like, "I didn't poach the listing." Of course she didn't. She says, I didn't know he was your friend or your client, if you want to say that, until they got there. Because that's exactly it. They didn't know. He told them there that Ashton was friends with not only him, but his girlfriend, and that they went to their wedding, you know? And Kaylee is getting upset because Kaylee's a kind of somewhat a part of this conversation. And she's getting upset because she's like, he's my client too. Like, she knows him too. She's like, "I can also be upset about this, but the fact that Ashtyn isn't quite owning up to the fact that either she lied about saying it or, she heard this from them, but she didn't hear it from him. She doesn't know if it's whatever. She doesn't know." She's getting upset and she's like, "I can't ignore the fact that she's lying." So yeah, she ends up walking away because she can't deal with this. And so when Alex kind of in this conversation kind of says, "Kaylee says he's her client too. This is just a clusterfuck. Okay? He's your quote unquote client. He's her client. He comes to me and Fiona is a clusterfuck. So I'ma just remove myself from this situation and be good." So she walks off, she leaves. She did what she had to do and whatever. And that's where we end episode 8. That's where we end the season. That's where we end my episode. So yeah, that's basically it. We are going to be moving on to, I believe, Perfect Match is coming soon. So we'll be moving on to that very shortly. Um, Eventually, yes, you will get the episode about B90s, tell all. Waiting for an opportunity to actually record that. But yeah, other than that, y'all, that is it for me. And that is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. it'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.